Hello there, this is Retro Spirits Garden, and this is Space Harrier, and this is on the Sega Saturn. We're using a Action Replay Plus here for no real reason, other than it's just plugged into my Saturn. We're going to start the game with no cheats enabled, because there aren't any cheats on the Action Replay for Space Harrier. It's a stock Action Replay, I've not added anything to it. That's the Sega logo. This is the Space Harrier loading screen. There's a guy who's jet washing a lizard who's looking quite angry. This is the Sega logo again. And this is RGB Sega Ages logo. And this is the title screen. Lovely. So we get straight into the game really. There's no faffing about on this. The demo mode. Everybody knows Space Harrier. Everybody's probably played Space Harrier. The Saturn version is a pretty decent version. I don't know if it's arcade kind of perfect. I'm assuming it is. My memory of the arcade version isn't super strong. I played it most recently on the Xbox 360. There's a Mega Drive collection on the 360 and it's got Space Harrier, I believe, as one of the unlockables. I'm trying to see if there's any what do they call it? Updated music, re-thingy-jigged music, but it wasn't. It was just the old music. Don't know if that's the case. Remixed. Remixed is the word I was looking for. I'm pretty sure in the PAL version, because I'm playing the Japanese version here, there's a remixed soundtrack for some of these games on the Sega Ages discs. Not so in the Japanese version of Space Harrier, looks of it. Unless it's an unlockable. So I've owned this game for, it's probably getting on for sort of 20 years, and this is the first time I've been able to play it on a Saturn, because I recently bought a Model 1 Saturn, because the compatibility of the Model 2 Saturn, which I own, the white one, isn't perfect. Like, you can't play Outrun on it, and you can't play Space Harrier on it. So I've had this disc for years and years, and not been able to play it until this week. Therefore, I'm playing it this week. The Saturn version in particular is supposed to have double the frame rate or something of the arcade machine, or maybe it matches the frame rate and the 32X1 didn't. There's something going on with frame rates and shenanigans. I'm shooting a dragon in the face here, which should be applauded. He's slowly getting angry and turned to dust. Iconic soundtrack. Sounds a bit bubble-bobbly. Or quite bouncy, isn't it? Oh, we've got some Easter Island heads there. Was that the... what year did Gradius come out? Was that 1985? 2 games in 1985 that had Easter Island heads in them. How strange. Anyway, yeah, I probably paid about 15 quid for this game. There is a re-release on the Saturn that does work on the Model 2, but it's hard to come by. Same with Outrun. Outrun doesn't work on the... most copies of Outrun don't work on the Model 2 Saturn. But this game is a lovely game. I remember the first time I ever saw it in the arcade, almost crapped my pants with excitement. It had the sit-down cabinet version, and there was another arcade further down the road that had the just stand-up version. Sit-down version was always the one to go for. Had manual firing. You had multiple fire buttons on the sit-down version of the arcade machine. Probably the stand-up one as well. You had one on the joystick, and then you had one on the actual machine itself, which you could use to fire quickly. The Saturn version doesn't have an auto-fire, so I'm having to manually tap out every single bullet I'm firing here, which is fairly tedious on the thumbs. If I had an auto-fire joypad, it would be much more fun for my thumb. Music. One of the things that, back in 1985, one of the things that blew everybody away was, well, yeah, scaled sprites, but the game was incredibly colourful, and the way the stages blended into each other was just a thing, which we'd never seen before, and just the overall theme blew our young minds We've got lasers, we've got dragons. This is the mid-80s. We've got robots. It's like a flying man. What would they think of next? The games can't get any more crazy than this, surely. That sound effect for when those black things come on is a lovely, lovely sound effect. It used to boom out in the arcade, and I'm glad that they let it boom out on the Saturn. The Saturn version is highly regarded, I believe, and indeed, it's a good game. Slightly repetitive, obviously, with the old shooty action, and you only get kind of one continue as far as I can see. Although I have made it to the bonus stage, and if you lose all your lives after the bonus stage, you can continue from level 6. I don't know if that's the same throughout the whole game, because there's multiple bonus stages in the game. So if you're going to do this game, you're going to be doing it on 1 credit, or you're going to be doing it in, I suppose, 5 level chunks. Look how colourful this is. It's a colour riot. Back in 1985, we'd only just had RGB in games, really. I mean, games just weren't this detailed back then. It looks incredibly basic now. It still sounds great. But it's a fun game, you can't deny it. The Saturn version can be had for around 30 quid these days. Probably a little bit more. Just recently, because price of the exchange rate. I've not seen a copy of Space Harrier in an import game shop for a long, long time. But obviously eBay will have ridiculous prices on most of this stuff. But it is a good game, and it's recommended. If you're playing a Sega Saturn, you're playing it to play old school games anyway, right? So the target audience for this is you, and you should buy this game. There's fireballs everywhere. This boss is not dying so much this time. Last time I shot the green thing and then the faces came and ate me. The Saturn version seems more difficult than the Xbox 360 version, isn't it? Maybe it's got something to do with having to manually fire all the time. Like I say, it's punishing on the old thumb buttons. I tried all the different buttons on the pad. None of them have got auto fire, which is a shame. I suppose there are other versions of this you can get. You can get it on the Dreamcast, which is on a couple of different things. I think it's on Shenmue, and it's also on GameWorks. Like I said, you can get this on the Xbox 360. You can get a version of this on the 3DS, which is kind of groovy in 3D. Don't think I've ever played that one though. It wasn't on the 3DS collection that came out. Maybe left it off that. You can get conversions of it on things like the PC Engine. The PC Engine version is alright. It's kind of colourful. The Mega Drive Plus, you've got Space Harrier 2, which is, whilst it's decent, it's not a patch on this, really. Just because it's a bit jerky. But yeah, Space Harrier. It's worth getting on the Saturn. Recommend it. It's not super expensive, highly collectible. Just make sure you've got a Model 1 Saturn, or the right version of the Space Harrier disc, or you'll be in flickery, stuttery graphic hell. Alright, ta-ra.